Gloria Hassall show with your girl Gloria Hassall. This program is sponsored by Glandis Essentials and the Gloria Hassall Foundation, and my clothing is sponsored by Glandis Essentials. So we're continuing the discussion with mental health and the pandemic and how the pandemic has had an impact on our mental health in these current times. And I've got a lovely couple in front of me, Jackie and Andy, who have been giving me their brilliant opinion and knowledge on mental health. So we'll continue our discussion, and welcome Jackie and Andy. Okay.
Hello.
Do you think that spirituality helps with one's mental health?
I think the biggest difference between being a non-spiritual person and a spiritual person is that if you're non-spiritual, you have to kind of face life in your own strength, don't you? Whereas a spiritual person will know there's a greater being, a greater power that they can draw strength from. So it's, in that respect, I think it's possibly easier if you've got some kind of faith and a belief in
A greater force.
A greater force, yeah, absolutely. It's, we all go through storms in life, and COVID has been a massive
storm.
Global storm, not just a personal one. But I think if you've got that spirituality, sometimes people have more hope and optimism in the future, don't they?
But I think as if you are truly living your life with God, and with God firmly embedded in your life, you're sort of walking hand in hand with everything that life throws at you, and trying to do things in your own strength is always going to be fraught with danger, because people are fragile. Some people are very fragile and almost give up at the first hurdle because they think it's just too
much.
Yeah.
Overwhelming.
But also, that even though you perhaps aren't deeply spiritual, it's amazing how many people, when they come near to death and whatever, how they default
to spirituality. Really?
That there is almost like the trampoline, the tightrope walker with the net underneath. God, they're praying to God.
Really?
Praying to God at the end. So it's almost people. Oh, I'm not religious, but yet they default to wanting God to help them right at the end.
Actually, talking about that, I know a lady who says she's an atheist, and every time she goes, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And I think to myself, I thought you're atheist.
Yeah.
So really, I know what you're saying. Maybe they probably know there is a greater being, but they don't want to believe in it. They don't believe in that greater being.
Almost, they put a greater effort into rebuffing, God, than actually welcoming him as a friend and a support in life.
Because I was really surprised, and she kept saying Jesus Christ. I'm like, you're supposed to be an atheist, so why saying Jesus Christ? That's why I kept. Yeah. And she only, like Christians use Jesus Christ when, let's say, there's a disaster. If something bad is happening, then you say Jesus. It's just like a natural thing, like a default thing. It just happens naturally.
To me, one of the things that I find quite abhorrent is people actually saying Jesus Christ, because it's blasphemous.
Yes, it
and
is.
You're taking the Lord's name in vain. Yeah. That to me is worse than using the F word or whatever.
But like Christians naturally would say Jesus Christ if they felt something bad is going to happen to them.
Well, I wouldn't. I won't.
I don't know.
Because it might be. I don't know whether that's in Ghana. That's true. but I would never explain. I would never exclaim using the Lord's name, because we perceive it to be blasphemous. You're actually using the Lord's name as a swear word. That's how I see it. I don't know about, do you?
Yeah, I used to get laughed at work because I used to go, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I say oh my gosh all the time, yeah.
But because I didn't say oh my god, it was like oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And they're like,
I think oh my gosh was made for the same reason. So you can say oh my god rather than say oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But personally, when I find myself in trouble, I do use the word Jesus Christ. And I use the word Jesus Christ not because it's being blasphemous, because I'm literally like leaning on him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's me personally. And I think a lot of other Christians do that as well.
I don't know if we're doing this like this.
I don't think it happens in this country, to be honest with you.
I work at a Church of England school, and there was a member of staff who would say that, and she was severely reprimanded for it.
Really?
So
let's say, for an example, if there was going to be, God forbid, a car crash, and you were literally going to hit, I would say Jesus Christ.
Definitely not.
You wouldn't?
No.
Oh, right.
No.
Okay.
I sort of understand where you're coming from. Now you've explained it to me. But I think in this country it would be perceived that was blasphemous. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
it's just like taking the Lord's name.
And it actually makes me cringe. And weirdly, in the Christian Football League that I referee in, anybody that swears is immediately shown a red card. It doesn't matter whether you swear at a player or you miss a shot and you swear, red card, you're off the field. Now, interestingly, somebody misses a shot or somebody like gets caught with a ball and they go, Jesus Christ. That's not. They're sort of saying, well, that's not swearing. Well, it is. It's worse to me. I give a red card for them saying
double red card, maybe.
Yeah. So it's just the way it's perceived.
The funny thing is, I've grown up with that.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say Jesus Christ for no reason, but if I found myself in trouble, it would just come out like naturally.
So you're almost asking the
for help.
Literally,
to save you. That's what it is. Literally. So that's how I have.
So in that context, I accept what you're saying, and I'll let you off with that one.
I'm not getting exposed. I'm not getting the red card.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just feel that, I mean, I know when my dad passed away, I knew he was going to die, but it was a great to have faith is a great comfort. I think it's like the biggest comfy blanket that you can have. That you know that you're wrapped up in warmth and love, and you know I just feel that I don't think I'd be the person I am or be able to face everything in life without that faith. Without the faith, knowing that you've got that spiritual support. And I don't want to. Sometimes it happens that you're almost at times I've just tried to do things in my own strength and it just doesn't work. And I think, well, I've almost excluded you there, Lord. I should have let you into that situation. And I can see times where I perhaps failed at certain things, and it's because I haven't
called God or let him in that situation. Okay. So do you think that things will get back normal, like normal, pre-COVID normal?
I think it's all going to be down to how well the whole COVID disease, can you call it disease? No,
Virus.
Is it? Can be managed, and how successful the vaccination programme will be. I mean, we know from Boris just last week, at some point we've got to learn to live with it, haven't we, this virus? It's how we learn to live with it. Can we learn to live with it by going back to normal, or have we got to make those changes, keep those changes that we've made, some of those changes in place? And I think some of them are quite a good thing, actually.
Yeah.
To be
I
fair.
think so too.
Well, I certainly think that we've had a vaccination programme for many, many years for flu vaccination for people who are quite vulnerable, particularly the elderly. That's worked quite successfully, and in time to come I can see that COVID vaccinations will be pretty much commonplace, because COVID is going to be around for the rest of your life. It isn't going to suddenly. I don't see the way it's and the way it's mutating. So there's so many different variants, and some. I mean, obviously this Delta bit. You know, they don't want to. They don't want to associate it with India, because I think that I think they had the connotation that any Indian people were going to get sort of berated for bringing it into the country, so they called it the Delta variant. But it's so much more virulent than other strains, and than the original strain of COVID that we had, and cases are going up and escalating. 10,000 new cases a day, 70% increase in cases in the last week, 70%. So it is, but reassuringly and encouragingly, the instances of people going into hospital haven't really massively escalated,
like the cases.
And now I would say that you've got that you're now playing a very, very carefully monitored balancing game between vaccination programme and managing COVID. So there's going to be COVID cases going on and forward,
so.
And I can honestly see that mask wearing may well be around for another year or more. I really can, and I hate wearing a mask, but it's become so commonplace that I rip it off as soon as I come out the shop door. But we're just living with it, and I think people are adaptable and people do move with the times. So
COVID testing, I think that will stay in. It's in place now.
But
it's the social distancing. I don't know what will happen there. Like in restaurants where everyone has to sit so far apart. I don't know whether we'll come back to a normal there where you can have reduce the social distancing.
I think
increase the capacity of places.
I think we'll get back to
at some point those will.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't think that in a quite a simple answer to your question, life will never be the same as it was pre-COVID, on the grounds that people have now worked out that there is a platform for them to use for work. There is no necessity to do a daily trudge commute to work. However, if you're talking about mental health, I think it should be a balance between the two. I think perhaps a couple of days a week in the office, 3 days
at home,
working from home. I do like that idea, because it gives people, and I actually think that people work better when they're given that freedom to work from home. And so I do like that. But I just think
stress, doesn't it?
But I do think from a sort of commerce point of view, of all the businesses that feed off and feed those commuters, or the sandwich shops, the snack bars and whatever. A lot of them have gone out of business because there's been no commuters going in to grab the coffee, grab their sandwich and whatever.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see a return to, but I've never heard of the word Zoom. 15
before COVID.
15, yeah. But now I have
Commonplace.
I have meetings every week on Zoom.
Commonplace.
And actually, during the winter months, when we've got a committee meeting,
You prefer that? It's cold.
Well, I've been off work this week, so I'm on
I prefer
with
to.
back problems, and I've still been able to access all the meetings online.
Yeah.
So I've still been able to work from home because I can join in meetings.
Yeah.
You know, so that it has got.
So I think
good side.
you can't just say that COVID has
Completely
devastated.
been a bad thing
Now,
throughout. There's been
I think we've already explored mental health awareness. So platforms to be able to carry on working, to be able. All right, might not agree with university students. They've had a bit of a rough deal, but at least they've had something.
Yeah.
In years gone by, what would they have done? They'd have had nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing.
Schools would have been shut completely, wouldn't they?
Well, yeah. You wouldn't have been able to function.
Yeah.
So I think that, and as the world, goes by, always things evolve, and I just think we will learn. Human beings are adaptable. Those who adapt the best have got the best mental well-being because they just embrace change. The problem for some people in society, people with particularly with autism and things, don't cope very well with change, and so the adaptability is the greatest stumbling block to them. So
ultimately it might help people develop resilience. Because I don't think this COVID, I don't think it's the last. I think we'll have something
different
else
variants.
Not even necessarily COVID, but
something else will come up. It always does, isn't it?
Yeah.
We always get these viruses coming up every now and then. So
yeah,
it might not be in our lifetime. But,
it could be.
You go back to 100 years or so ago, and you had
plagues.
You did.
They had their fair share of their own problems.
Cholera and whatever.
Yeah, and it was killing them at the time.
Like 1 million odd people died.
Yeah.
So, although 127,000 is quite a devastating number of people who have died COVID related, although I'm not absolutely convinced by all of this.
I think it's probably more really.
Well, I also think that they might have died anyway. That's the problem. They've linked it to COVID. Yeah, they might have had COVID.
But they had that underlying health.
They probably just died.
They would have died anyway, sooner or later, from the condition they had. So, but I think they were criticised. The government's been criticised massively about this, that, and the other. We've been living in unprecedented times, and nobody would have done any better job to my mind, because you're dealing with it. If you're dealing with uncertainty, it's dead easy to be able to comment after the event. Oh well, I'd have done it like that. Well, you can't prove that would have worked, could you?
Yeah.
But going back to the spirituality question, having that faith in God, it's someone we can put our trust in that's not a politician or a world leader or whatever, someone who we can confidently put our trust in to get us through
difficult times
and
All right then, thank you.
Thanks,
Jackie and Andy. It's been a very lovely discussion. So that's all time has for us. So this program is sponsored by Glandis Essentials and the Gloria Hassall Foundation. If you'd like to sponsor us, please contact the number on your screen. my apparel is from Glandis Essentials. So have a blessed week, and I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.
Gloria Hassall Show comes your way every Saturday, 7 p.m. on Sunny TV with your host Gloria Hassall to break down the importance of addressing and discussing issues like current affairs, marriage, culture, economy, health, wealth, and education on Gloria Hassall Show, 7 p.m. every Saturday on Sunny TV.